third chapter up from The Witches. And when we left off, the little boy in our story had been on vacation with his grandma. She got sick, so they couldn't go back to the Netherlands, but they were able to, go on vacation, and she got better, and she got him some pet mice, but he had to keep them in cages, and so he snuck into a private room to try to play with his mice and teach them tricks. And so now he's kind of stuck because the people that were coming into the meeting room came in. So we're going to find out what happens next in the meeting. Okay, so now that the manager had gone, I was now particularly alarmed. Better than to be imprisoned in the room full of these splendid ladies. If I ever got talking to them, I might even suggest they come and do a bit of cruelty to children preventing at my school. We could certainly use them there. And they came, talking with their heads off. They began milling around and choosing their seats, and they were all a whole lot of stuff like, "Come on and sit next to me, Millie dear," and "Oh, hello, Beatrice. I haven't seen you since the last meeting. What an adorable dress you have on." I decided to stay where I was and let them get on with their meeting while I got on with the mouse training. But I watched them for a while longer through the crack in the screen, waiting for them to settle down. How many were there? I guessed. They all seemed to want to sit as far back from the platform as possible. There was a lady performing Tiny Green Hat in the middle of the back row who kept scratching the nape of her neck. She couldn't leave it alone. It was fascinating me, and my fingers kept scratching away at the hair in the back of her neck. Had she known somebody was watching her from behind, I'm sure she would have been embarrassed. I wondered if there was a dandruff. All of a sudden, I noticed there was a lady next to her doing the same thing, and the next one, and the next one. A whole lot of them were doing it. They were all scratching at the hair on the back of their necks. Did they have fleas in their hair? More likely it was nits. A boy in school called Ashton had nits in his hair last term at Matron, and made him dip a whole head in turpentine. It killed the nits all right and nearly killed Ashton as well. Half the skin came off from his scalp. Nits are like head lice. I began to be fascinated by these hair-scratching ladies. It was always funny when you catch someone doing something coarse or she thinks no one is looking. Nose picking, for example, scratching her bottom, hair scratching, or very clearly as unattractive, especially if it goes on and on. I decided it had to be nits. Then the most astonishing thing happened. I saw the lady pushing her fingers up the underneath of her hair of her head, and the entire head of her hair lifted upwards off in one piece. And the hand slid underneath her hair and went on scratching. She was wearing a wig. She was wearing gloves. I glanced swiftly around the rest of the now seated audience. Every one of them was wearing gloves. My blood turned to ice. I began to shake all over. I glanced frantically behind me for a back door to escape through. There wasn't one. Should I leap out from behind the screen and make a dash for the double doors? The double doors were already closed, and I was bending forward and fixing some sort of metal chain around the two door handles. I keep still. I told myself, no one's seen you yet. There's no reason in the world that they should come and look behind the screen. But one false move, one cough, one sneeze, one nose blow, one little sound of any sort, and I won't just have one witch that gets you. It will be 200. So here's a picture of them all scratching their head. At that point, I think I fainted. The whole thing was altogether too much for the small boy to cope with. But I don't believe I was out for more than a few seconds. When I came to, I was laying on a carpet, and I was still, thank heavens, behind the screen. There was absolute silence all around me. Rather shakily, I got to my knees, and I peered once again through the crack in the screen. Well, that is a very, very short chapter, and that is the end. So I hope you all have a good day, and I will come back tomorrow as I read Frizzled Like a Fritter.